mind you well tonight? All right. I want you to speak to you. You can address it somebody else if you like, but bottom line is I want you to address. If you're speaking to someone, you're not saying it to them, you are saying it from you. In other words, you are saying it for the benefits. Like when you go to a person, I know some of you have never had the honor and the joy of saying that you need to be able to get to do some things that you just by yourself, ha, I'm good. And I'm not talking pride. You see, sometimes we confuse things that are not pride. There is a work you must do. The Bible says when God had made man, he looked at man and said, I am good, so. And he wasn't lying. When you're not sure, you are still trying to improve something that was done 100%. Right? Because Satan whispered in your ear about your complexion and all other things. You are busy trying to improve on God. Is this making sense? I want you to say, I'm blessed. Okay. So I want to repeat this again because I want to make sure that these times are beneficial, that they are not political rallies, that when you do things, the things resonate in your spirit. And so when you say, I am blessed, you're not doing it for me, because whether you do it for me or not, it doesn't affect me, it does nothing for me. All right? So I want you to say again, I am blessed. God's blessings have now come upon me. They are overtaking me because I obey the Father. I'm blessed in Bulawayo. I'm blessed in every city. I'm blessed in the field. I'm blessed in what I do. The fruit of my body, my children are blessed. Those that are there now, those that are coming, those which will be my children's children, they are blessed. Everything about me is blessed. My cattle, my sheep, my goats, my chickens, my dogs, they're blessed. I didn't want to go on. There is still a lot, but I don't want to overload you. Yesterday, like I said, I don't know whether I was talking to this class, we were blessed with a little German Shepherd puppy. It's big. It's this size. We just arrived home. It just had that we had arrived, and it just made such a racket. So we eventually took it out of its enclosure, put it in the kitchen, and it had a way of announcing that, look, I'm hungry. And it was all over the kitchen, climbing on everyone, clawing to say, hey, are you not hearing what I'm telling you? I said I am hungry. So eventually, when food had been made and it ate the food, and it had been enjoying running around all over the house, so I had to go back into the enclosure. It made it known that I do not appreciate being in an enclosure. I want us to understand that blessing is a mindset. It's a what? You can have 1,000, let me say, you can have $100 million and still be cursed. talking about the LGBTQ agenda. Some of us thought I was joking. Go and look. I think it's the new Orlando Pirates uniform. Either Orlando Pirates or Kaiser Chiefs. Gay colors, rainbow colors. Why? Some idiot was promised sponsorship. We will give you 200 million rand. All of you dress up as Ngochani. This is why I respect Muslims. Sadio Mane has refused anything that violates Islam. When they start spraying each other with wine when the team wins, then he refuses. Nobody will spray him. No, he will not touch it. Why? Because it violates Islamic. Salithuli phela. Ngoba siyathanda ukuba ngamaKristu omlomo. Then we wonder why the blessing, remember, is a function of covenant. That's why if you know that you have positioned yourself to walk by the covenant, I don't have to drive a car to know I'm blessed. Are you sure you're getting this? I don't need you to come and tell me that I'm an African. And come tomorrow with evidence and all manner of things. Today I was doing a little bit of a study. I do that because knowledge is sweet to me. It's absolutely sweet. And I actually didn't know that the Tumbuka people, who have a very funny language, Tumbuka almost, not so sure what language it sounds like, that the Bemba people are actually our people. Funny thing, the world is so small. It turns out that the descendants of Mzilikazi who ran away from Shaka in the Mfecane or Defecane period is, so Mzilikazi, who is obviously a relation of Chaka, happens to be the father of the Nguni or the Angoni. Do you know how far spread they are? Up to the DRC. As if there is ama passport lithatha in a different offices, tupa lithatha in a different office. Yeah, thina mandebele uqoboqobo singathi thu ngemva kwedwala, you know, all manner of stupidity. Busy killing people. Some of the idiots in South Africa killing people in xenophobia were actually killing their own relatives. Into lezi azibuyi nge-osmosis. Zibuya ngokubala lezi. Ukarekela kudoma. Meno zwakho unoita chidoma. So today we start on the 4th. That response of yours is not right at all. Hallelujah. I want to finish, so I'm going to have to butcher quite a lot of things tonight because I need to finish the 4 tonight because of tomorrow. Whatever I didn't address, you will bring it through questions. Break up my time into 20 fourth of the enemies of Israel were the Canaanites, and the redemptive gift aligned to this curse is the redemptive gift of exhorter. And so Judges chapter 4 from verse 1, going on up to verse 24 speaks about it. And interesting in this, and in the other ones we will look at, is that we have a judge who is a woman, and this is the only time that this happens or in the history of Israel. We can talk of Miriam, and remember, Miriam was just Moses' sister. She was not an official leader. She was like the first lady. In Zimbabwe, I know some of you are confused. No, it's not an official title. They can write letterheads. It is not, nobody voted for the first lady. All right. And if I offended anyone, I apologize. My intention is not to offend, but just to tell the truth. All right. So now, there is this matter here. Deborah goes and being a prophetess, the nation is under bondage, and she goes and God speaks to her and says, no, I've got my main man, so and so is supposed to undertake this assignment, and his name is Barak, which literally means a flash of lightning, and that's where the problem is. Whenever we get used to flashes of things in our lives, flashes of testimonies, flashes of brilliance, everything in our lives is designed to become standard. I pray someone is hearing. So someone saw him flashing leadership. When the time came where a flash was not adequate, but you needed a leader who would stay and be in an environment, he refused to go to war. He says to Deborah, the only time in history that I can remember, that a man refused to go to war, I will only go if you come. Are we still here? Barak lacked legitimacy, and so he tried to get it from Deborah. Why? Because Deborah was a prophetess, and she was known. And so people like that, you will always find that people are always going around name dropping. Oh, yesterday I was with so and so. They bumped into so and so at Holiday Inn when he was going out, they were going in. The statement you hear, I was with. They only greeted each other. Unlike prophets who fix, exhorters, can I please have my cable, and you guys organize my cable and a charger? I've forgotten, but my mind was somewhere else. I spent the whole day without the machine on a charger, so I didn't charge it. So unlike the prophet who fixes, exhorters need people to be around them. The exhortation ministry is the ministry of the apostle. The religious variation is that I am legitimate when there are a lot of people who need my spiritual resources so that they can possess their birthright. You have a lot of things that happen. In your materials, you find how people present themselves as networkers, project the notion that you need. When you listen to or you read that thing, you need these resources to come to your next level. You are listening to a corrupt exhorter. And yet, go to your YouTube if you don't believe me. Go and watch how many Christian television programs are projected as being, this is what you need for your next level. And it's a lie, and it's a lot of rubbish. Many ministries directly or indirectly state, if you hang around me, I will network you so that you can go to places which you will never be able to go if you don't hang around me. So, the challenge here becomes the perversion of the truth and the reversal of the principle. Why? Because the exhorter is supposed to fulfill their birthright using God's resources. The marker of the Canaanite case is that you are always going into abusive relationships. The marker of the Canaanite case is that you are always going into abusive. By the way, I'll show you a bit later on. Because the Canaanite curse happens to also be a very good friend of the ruler. You remember how you saw the servant becomes a very good friend of which one? We spoke about that yesterday. You sound unconvinced. All right, you'll read your notes. So let me not give you the answers, otherwise this will have no value for you. So the gift of exhortation in ministries manifests in bizarre ways. In history, you learn of Napoleon the Great, who could change and inspire men, but yet was an abusive person. Is this making sense? In businesses or in churches, you start off, you are in a desperate situation, someone reaches out to you, they are so loving and so they are there for your family and everything else until, whoa. The pastor who paid for you to go to varsity, you then discover has got a small house in every city that he goes to preach. But there's a problem. He's the one who paid for your fees. Wena usungu PA wake. Because now you see when I'm also kufonela ma small house who arrange which gonna know Ubaba is going to be there. And by the way, because I know many of you don't know this, there are many preachers on TV. It's not just Victor Omotoso. The first person to tell me this was an elder in a church here in the city. I was flying from Harare to Johannesburg. And we just happened to be, that time we were, well, I'm not so sure now whether we're flying from, because we've flown together several times. But we happened in this instance to be seated next to each other. We began to speak. And he's talking of how very big name brands, apostolic, prophetic, faith ministries. Some of them, he was talking from his own experience, from his own church. Visiting speaker is in the church lodge. Churches who run lodges. Sister so-and-so is the one who is going to be in charge here and Sister so-and-so is single. And Sister so-and-so is not there just for prayer. first time I heard, I went mad. I thought, to me it was an exception until I started hear men of God on the pulpit talking about it. One of the things is the way people know you either delivers or sets you free. Can you imagine someone trying to do that for me? There is an oil God puts on you that protects you when you are sleeping. Don't worry. Some of you will catch that later. Protects you while you are sleeping. You are walking on the road. People just know your reputation. Akula mntu othi ngicwe. Umuntu abekwazi ukuthi lo ngeke umthumele ihule. The way he is, others uyakufa umuntu wakhona. Is this making sense? That's why I keep trying to tell men, don't be like men who walk like this here. He think, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? You can't bribe a lion sending it in Impala. It's gone a bit quiet. You can't bribe a lion with an Impala. So, the leader helps you. And after some time, you are in serious trouble. So, remember yesterday we said the most pervasive of all the curses is which one? Which is redemptive gift? Redemptive gift, servant. But the curse being the Moabite. Is anyone still here tonight? Yes. The Moabite happens to also team up, guess what? With the Canaanite. Because you need someone with the heart of a servant to manipulate. I spoke to a friend of mine today. We were in school together. We're very good friends. And disappeared for a couple of months. That called me some time back. We grew up in the same neighborhood. So they called me today. I'm sorry, I have been off. I've been off social media. I was going through some stuff. What were you going through? Then they said, "Listen, let me talk to you." Turns out, this person is looking after her mother. Her relationships with all her siblings are broken. The mother who's living in her home has made it her domain. A relative got into trouble. By the time this person arrives home, the mother has invited that relative and her 4 children to come and live. Regularly, the mother will be very demanding, wants money. But this person is the one doing everything. Doctor sometimes will not go to work. Taking the mother to doctors and specialists. And they said something that resonated so deeply with my heart. At their home, if I'm not wrong, if my memory serves me well, they are 7 children, 7, maybe 8, but I think 7. Guess what? It was the first day I actually got to know about it. Says, I was the only child my mother didn't like. I resonated. Said, I don't understand. I am looking right now under my direct responsibility. There are 12 people. 12. My mother will be demanding, will be shouting and angry. You know why she needs the money? Because she all the food is there. She's going to doctors because the other children are funny and say, She's taking money from the person with all this burden and sending it to her children. Redemptive gift servant. Yikho lapho kufunakala ophiri khona. You have compassion, but you are compassionate enough to kill you. Kill you out of compassion. Because it's easy to confuse this. Why did you kill him? It was out of compassion. This person is better off dead. They are alive, they are a problem to themselves and to everyone. In the Moabite, you are not released into your birthright because the leadership does not want to lose your skills. In the Philistine, they don't recognize your skills. In the Canaanite, you are not released because you bring legitimacy. And yet, in the fourth one, in the exhorter, you are abused because of your skill. In any organization, life flows from organization to customer or to client. In a church, please, those of you who maybe mistakenly, someone has put you in a position where you are sustaining me. I release you today. I set you free. Anyone here who has maybe someone said something, maybe they didn't understand me, they didn't hear me well, and so your life is being abused for my sake. Maybe you are buying my wife 2 chickens a month and all, and I release you from any responsibility right now. You can't sustain me. You didn't call me. You sure this makes sense? In a ministry, the pastors, the leaders are meant to receive honor, not sustenance. Are you sure you're getting this? Sustenance, you have to complain, drive, pumula, complain, a pastor is called again. Shall we wonder fit shock absorbers? You know, I'll talk to you later. Mfundise phone the foot. You are sustaining me in honor. You go and you say, this S-class is too old for Mfundis now. Let's buy a new one. It's okay, it's stressing. I could see the trying to overload, current overload going into people's flash of lightning on their eyes. The reality is that in many places where the Canaanite curse is operational, the people, the members of the church are the ones who are giving life to the church, not the church giving life to people. In communities and organizations under this case display a lot of rules and regulations and policies, process how things work, except for the people in the inner circle. In Zimbabwe, you will understand we are an exhorter nation. It's the people in Zimbabwe who must sustain a small little clique at the top. The demonic structure is to accrue the favor of men. If you know the right people, no rules apply to you. Yet the design of God is that the exhorter is to get through by the favor of God, but not the favor of men. Yesterday I received a telephone call. I thought, what? It was about 12 midnight. Phone is ringing. I was about to switch it off, and phone is ringing. Men said, Mfundisi, your God works. Spoke to me a few weeks ago. Mfundisi, there are these people, Basebensimiti. Whenever we arrive at the place for them, you are always told they left 2 minutes ago. I said, food sack to their shrine. Let me tell you right now, your team will not lose one person. All of these people, I account for them as a prophet of God. He said, Mfundisi, this person almost shot me. I said, if he had shot you, I would have resigned as a senior pastor. Are you guys hearing what I'm talking about? How are you going to know God is God if there is no proof? That's why if some of you are still blinded by darkness, spirits of wickedness fighting your foundations, you still haven't connected to this. If you are just getting involved with church programs where you are not connected to it, all you just take, may Jehovah have mercy on you. Your God. I said what I told you before the end of this month. All of them. We have been after these people for such. I said, if the God I serve, not some of them, all of them. How are you going to prove God is true if sinners can't see it? Are you sure you're hearing me? That's why you've got to learn to do these things I'm telling you. Say to yourself, I'm blessed. If it's not in your head, we are behaving lema. What are the causes? The causes are the rejection of the cause and effect of things. You do wrong, you are supposed to be reproved. But in exhorter churches, pastor can do whatever he likes. No one. There is no voice to say, I'm Fundisi. Is this biblical? Because Fundisi is those ones who are so anointed that no man on earth can tell them anything. That's why if you are stupid, you just go to any church. You want to go pick up some weird prophet, call him your spiritual father. Who is his spiritual father? Number 2 is an entitlement spirit. The belief that you need what you need because you deserve it. Entitlement spirit. You think you can pray for 15 minutes and become a David. What is the root cause? Root cause is the Canaanite nation where they came from. Genesis chapter 9 from verse 20 to 24. He curses. And Canaan is cursed 3 times. Verse 25, cursed be Canaan. By the way, when he's cursing Canaan, Canaan is not yet born. He cursed him by his name prophetically. Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. He is not going to be a servant. He is going to be the servant of a servant. Verse 26. Canaan shall be his servant. Talking of who? Shem. Verse 27. Canaan shall be his servant. Talking about who? Japheth. He'll be a servant of servants. The dynamics that caused this triple curse was the attempt to normalize sin. The attempt to normalize sin. The exhorter is at the root cause of the bondage coming in. The using of their influence to get others to do wrong. In a church, a person is about to leave the church. I've heard hundreds of such stories. Here we saw it. I'm not going to make any references. You saw that yourselves. A person wants to leave. You've got the whole database of the church. You start sending messages to members of the church. Oh, by the way, we are launching on sending messages to people. Oh, by the way, please make sure the worship team is practicing. What worship team? And let me tell you right now, you may not believe me. None of any ministry starting that way will ever see a day of prosperity. It's gone quiet. Do you know what is worse? The people inside that church, including the ones who arrive who don't know what happened, are also recipients of the same curse. Curses don't come because of ignorance. Curses come in spite of ignorance. When you get married to a person with a curse of poverty, you're not going to bring prosperity there. If you have prosperity, it will be terminated by their curse. Every time ngavele kuseva ke lokuyimali so kunokuyi 7,000 kokuthenga istand, something will happen. Uzabotshwa. 5,000 ngeku magistrate, then the other 2,000 officer in charge, investigating officer. By the time the luto, then you serve another 9,000. After you serve another 9,000, your own relative will steal the money and go to South Africa. Then you serve another money. After you have saved it, the currency of the country will change. When the exhorter is under a curse, it's painful. In communities, you see that with Gideon, Judges 8, verse 23 to 27, how that they made a covenant with him, but then they violated that covenant. And the violation of that covenant led to the whole nation coming under a curse. There are 5 levels of authority in this. The least level is those empowering the case, are those using their popularity to validate evil. When you start making statements challenging God or equating yourself with God and all in all, just because God has blessed you, you are driving the latest car and all in all now, so kuluma njengomuntu osutindumba. Is someone here? Yes, the next slightly higher level is those using their popularity to validate themselves. So you are not operating by the grace of God. You are operating by your marketing ability of your brand. Liqaphele bazalwane bami. Liqaphele into le your brand must be to do with ensuring that you are not carrying ingcekeza. Let me show you this. Anyone who meets me, anywhere, I must be such that nobody meets me and they say, but umfundisi wakho. Is he having problems? Why? The way he was dressed. Dressing is not just a suit. Anything you wear. I've had to talk to some of my daughters here. That denim jean your husband wears, I don't want to see it. Wear that when you are at home working in the garden. Don't dare wear that to church. Why? You're a leader. You have a brand to maintain. It is not the same as you going on Facebook, starting all these things, wicked things. I'm going to be teaching these days are copying those as America, ezenzo ngabantu abalama PhDs. This masterclass, that masterclass. I'm doing a masterclass. Masterclass. You are not a master at anything. How are you going to teach a masterclass? Are you guys getting this? Yes, you can't teach a masterclass unless you are a master at something. The third level is those who know they are legitimate because God has called them. Deborah needed no one's approval, but sadly, she had no authority. Deborah couldn't say, you know what, guys, come, let's go to war. She didn't have any, she had no experience of war. She never fought a battle. The second from the topmost level is those who are able to stand alone against established sin and religious establishment like John, who say, this is the way. This way you have been walking is sinful. This is the way, walk ye in it. And the highest level is those who are able to lead people into high-risk obedience without abusing them. What happens when this curse is broken? You are able to develop the resources that God has given you without bowing down to anything or anyone or using your own power, without appealing to some abilities of yours that have nothing to do with God. When broken, it gives you the time to develop resources and anointings God has given you. Are you still here? The fifth one is the Midianite curse, which parallels the gift of giving. Judges chapter 7 verse 22, and 300 blew the trumpet, and the Lord saved every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the host. And the host fled to Beth Shittah in Zererat and the border of Abel Meholah and Tabat. And the men of Israel gathered themselves out of Naphtali, out of Asher, and Gideon. Remember the story of Gideon. You guys have read it. If you didn't read it, not even heaven can help you. The surface manifestation of the curse is the seasonal devouring that occurs. Midianite curse. The patterns vary from individuals, but the principle remains the same. The second manifestation is the failure to get ahead. Why? Because of the seasonal. I'm not going to say raise up your hands, but I want to ask these questions. You answer yourself in your stomach. How many of you, every time you've saved money, when you think this time, remember I said don't answer, don't raise up your hand, don't. Something just happens. Your father suddenly is diagnosed with a need to go for surgery, and the only specialist in town, you go and see him, you've saved 8,000. He says the surgery is going to cost 10.5. You say, we don't have 10.5. He sits and says, well, I've actually got quite a number of people who I need to do surgery, but it's your father. Then eventually he says, okay, how much money can you raise? Say, I've got 8,000. I could ask my other brother. I doubt he can raise more than 8.5. What not? He takes his cell phone, gives it to you. Says, phone him. So you phone the other brother, says, no, I've got 700. Says, okay, bring the 8,700 tomorrow, I'll do the surgery. So you carry the 8,700, which represents all the things. And it doesn't happen once. Midianite curse. The Midianite curse times its devouring at harvest time. We read there of Oreb, the two princes of Midian. First one is called Oreb, which is the raven. It's a scavenging bird that eats about whatever it can get. This represents a loophole in the defenses of a person being devoured. It's a loophole. Young people are in church. You start dating a raven. When a ministry or a church has order Anyone outside of synchrony with that order will always feel compelled to leave. Because they know their disorder cannot prosper in the order. So what happens? I disappear. Unlike most churches, I won't play games here. Are the young men playing keyboard? I told my wife, I said, there is something wrong with that young man. Something super wrong. My own son defied me. I tell him, there's something wrong with that boy. Carries the wrong spirit. He carried away this. I made an example the other day. This girl, mother is a maid. Now you are working fancy job. You were supposed to take your mother instead of living in a boy's car. Take your mother. Either rent a house for now. Mama, if you want to sell tomatoes, fage keti napana wena usule ndlu yakho. Someone's boys can touch you any moment. Are you guys here? Yes, but found a raven. The second one is Zeb, is the wolf. The one that goes to pick out any animal that is young, weak, or too old. See, poverty doesn't damage life per se. Poverty damages relationships. And it is the damage to relationships that terminates life. Let me say it again. I want you to listen. There is no one here who doesn't have a healthy relationship who has life. I said there is no one here who doesn't have healthy relationships who has life. Abanye benu lachatana lotwa between Oreb and Zeb. You have two predators, same house. It doesn't matter what counsel you receive. From whether the church, from reading manuals, or whether attending seminar, it won't make a difference. Because if counsel comes, either Zeb will deal with it or Oreb will deal with it. Because there is no capacity for one person. What do you think was the issue with Ananias and Sapphira? They saw the miracles of God happening in church. How come not? No, it's not right. Oreb and Zeb. I'm a church where Babu Mfundisi is abusive, Mamu Mfundisi is abusive. One thing I don't mind is people thinking I'm abusive. I don't mind that because just naturally I don't care. But you ever utter that my wife is abusive, I will kill you as a favor myself. I won't even tell her. That I will not allow it. One thing I will not allow. Anything I can allow done against me cannot be done to my family. One place that the line that never gets crossed is my family. Me, I don't mind. My skin is too thick. You want to go into the lion's den with me? Name the time and the date. We will meet in the lion's den. I am like the man of David who killed a lion-like man on a snowy day. With me, I mean, I can come back home bleeding profusely. I know I'm going to heal. But you don't occasion that to my family. That has no chance. I literally went to collect the police after dealing with the two guys who had come into our house. I left them outside. I left the one guy outside. So how did you leave him? What if he could run away? I could not run away. Did you tie him up? No, I didn't. Was he dead? No, he wasn't. Did you break any bones? No, I didn't. But you went and came back, yes. You are still there, yes. How did you know he would be there? I knew. Could he talk? Yes. Could he rise up? Yes, by the time I came back, he could rise up. Do anything except threaten my family. Pull a gun on me. Yes. Make the mistake, pull a gun on me or on my wife. I guarantee you, as heaven is thin, I will kill you. Without a gun and without anything, I will kill you. That I guarantee. See, understand this. When you are dealing with a Midianite situation, you have the two princes of the Midianites. These are the small mantles. Then you have Ziba and Zalmunna, who are the kings. Let's go to them just quickly. Remember, I said poverty does not damage life, but relationships. And the reason for damaging the relationships is because where there are no relationships, there is no life. Are you sure you're still here? Proverbs chapter 14, verse 20 says, the poor man is hated by his own neighbor. But the rich, talk to me someone, has many friends. Ecclesiastes 9:15, there was found in a city a poor wise man, and by his wisdom he delivered the city. Yet no man remembered the same poor man. What was his challenge? Destruction of relationship. But he was wise. You have an operational curse. You are wise, but no one respects your wisdom. Then I said, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised. What is the point of having wisdom which no one wants? What is the point of wisdom if it's not going to help anyone? It's like having a ministry that no one appreciates. I mean, some of you, you've heard some very stunning things about some of us, but you are here. Because it's not of him who willeth or him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. Aside from these times when the curse is manifesting, people under this curse find festival times the most dangerous. There are families, every Christmas or every second Christmas or every third Christmas, they must bury someone. That families who know, December 1 to December 31st, Gaipeli Mahala, Agula December Mahala. And it doesn't happen just sporadically. There is always a pattern. Please listen to me. Either it's one Christmas after the other, or it's every second Christmas, or some people don't realize you can have a 3-2-1 pattern or a 1-2-3 pattern. A 1-2-3 pattern is a person will die. Then the next one will die after 2 Christmases. Then the next one will die after 3 Christmases. So that means year 2000, the person died. 2002, another one died. 2005, another one died. Then we go back to the 1, 2, 3. So 2006, another one will die. 2007, another one will die. 2010, another one will die. The problem is, half the time we're not analytical. Are you still here? The name Ziba or the two kings. Ziba means deprivation. That's being deprived from being sacrificed. Your entire existence, there is this situation that wants to use you as sacrifice. There's no one to protect you. No one to protect you. There are men in the United States, it's not known, nobody's ever done the study because America is too ashamed and embarrassed of it. Many black men serving sentences of something, they were not within 5 kilometers of the crime. In the olden days, in the not mid 1900s, 1950s or 1980s, a white woman would call the police. I got raped. Police would come running. Describe the suspect. He was a white male. Madam, we can't say that. You'll embarrass our people. You'll embarrass our people. Yes, but also, ma'am, do I have to repeat this to you again? Do you know bad things can happen to your family even after you are going through this traumatic experience? If something bad happens to you, actually saying something bad will happen to you. I'm sure it was just a memory lapse. Can I please write that was a black man? Yes, it was a black man. Okay, so they're just driving. They'll just look for a black man. Just arrest the black man. We have men, several men, some of them 40 years. They went into prison, 1980. So the situation is bad. Watch. But why did it happen to you in particular? Why didn't it happen to someone else? You were deprived of the protection of being sacrificed. Is someone getting this? But in this world, you can't survive by being a nominal Christian. I-COVID yadlulela abantu ongeke ubacabangele. Abale mali. Those people in the submarine are all dead now. Almost guaranteed. Because 12 British time today, 12 was when all their oxygen was running out. They still have not been. And there is no way, maybe some of you can, there is no way you will survive 3 minutes without oxygen. Calculate how many hours it is now. Do you know the funny thing? In there was billionaire. It was billionaires and millionaires. Bekungela obozuze. Are we still here? The second king is Zalmunna. That's deprived from the protection of shade. What is shade? You don't live in shade. You need shade. There are particular times when you just need to just stand underneath the shade because the sun is blaring toward you. It's not to stand under. And that momentary need for shade could be your end. By the way, I don't know how many people have died now in India. People are dying in India like flies. You know why? Because of the sun. Hospitals cannot cope. Mortuaries cannot cope with the dying. Being deprived of shade. What is shade? Shade is sometimes you have done wrong, you've messed up epic. You need a shade, you need somewhere. I always say to parents, abantwana. If you are going around carrying the spirit of Ziba and Zalmunna, meaning you have no relationships. The day something goes wrong with your children, they have nowhere to run to. Bayaphephela power, or in the hands of a sexual pervert. The Jews are major givers, but their greatest gifts to mankind have been the written word, the Bible, the living word, the Messiah, and Davidic worship. Gift of giving, very brutal in New York. What is the curse of this year? The curse of the giver is that I'm legitimate when I can provide the resources for others to reach their birthright. And yet, a giver's legitimacy was never meant to be from what they can do, but who they can do it from. Is someone here tonight? My legitimacy is not in the fact that I can prophesy your name. No, legitimacy is in the fact that I am a child of God. When I stand here, my first office that I stand in is that of a child of God. I'm his son. Before I'm your pastor, I'm his son. If I have to shed off, if I have to take off anything, I will take off pastor, prophet, whatnot. The one I can't take off is that of being his son. You know why? That's my skin. Yes, let me just teach you something. Touch my hand. Touch my hand again. Remove the skin right now. Can she do that? Why? Why? You see, you're not thinking now. You're just sitting there like decorations in the church. No. Why can't you do that? Because it's super painful. I uzama siyazama, but have you ever seen a person who got bent, their skin peeled away, and you were able to touch the locals? Why you want to when Tinesas Dali Ipora ele rola millediana? Okuti pora o Catledistina. Could your mother touch your bare skin? So know it from right now. This year, you delay this. But just remove it. Remove it. You can't touch. Can't touch it. Why? It's super sensitive. The work that this thing does. Harvard Medical School just fired a man and his wife. They were the ones that were responsible for the medical school where they were keeping donated corpses that are used for medical research. The man and his wife were selling body parts. There were people buying. The one person who bought so that they could skin and keep the skin. The other people who were buying the brains. The most bought part was head. So people bought a head of someone they don't know. Others required the face to be removed. Bought face. Others bought hands. It was skin, hands, foot, heart, liver. These are dead. These are not for putting onto some people. And skin. And then brain, sorry. Several. Dissect, remove brain, send to a person. Omankomo echela nyemba. Akulo lawyer njalo. Givers can be prone to control by giving with strings attached. The United States is possibly the biggest giver on earth. I taught you yesterday, I'm not going to waste the time. They will want to attach conditions, which is actually legitimate, right? Because it took me a long time to get to the place where I'm at the place now. If I'm paying school fees for any child, they fail first term, that's it, terminated. No more. You're not serious enough. Are you sure you're getting this? But for you to say we have got to become all homosexuals, for you to give us aid for food. As the Honorable President said, keep your England, I keep my Zimbabwe. Yes. In fact, some of you don't even remember. It says, don't foist your food down our throats. The principle of the giver is what? Stewardship. Accomplishing someone's agenda with another person's resources. That is what stewardship means. Now, the giver, when they are backslidden, they've now got their own agenda, which is to feel safe, to feel secure. So what happens is, most NGOs, are thieves. So they are givers so that they can create comfort. We are looking after 5,000 orphans. You don't even have 500 orphans. The money is being used to build a double-story house. Paul, speaking of the Macedonians, said they gave as much as they were able and beyond. Why? Because God wants the giver to be in partnership with him so they can move into the supernatural, where they give from need and not from abundance, from relationship and not from resources. I am not supposed to teach you out of my human intellect. I'm supposed to teach you out of the freshness of my encounters with God. Are we still here? The reason this is such an issue is that the giver can get corrupted. Genesis 25 verse 1, Abraham took a wife called Keturah, and she bore Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. And what did he do? Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, he gave gifts. Keturah never became his wife. Keturah was a small house. So there was no covenant. And Abraham himself created perpetual enemies for Isaac. Are you still here? We see it in nations. In Israel, because of the rejection of the meeting with God, those are the things that happen every, is it 69 or 70 years? America, guess what? Has the same issue. Who has authority over this curse? Number one, those who are givers but who possess their birthright badly enough, or rather want to possess their birthright badly enough, that comfort and security are never a consideration. In speaking about NGOs, that the person who is the head of the NGO goes to Chelanyemba, goes there, finds, and says, I've got to come back next week. People can't be living like this. But their money has not been released in America. He uses his own money Umthole ngaphi? Umthole ngaphi? Half these programs are just for personal enrichment. We're doing a goat problem. You don't have one goat. How can you do a goat program when you don't have a goat? You sure you're hearing? Please, beloved brother, just remember that you can't give what you don't give. I think you missed it. You can't give what you don't give. If the only time I am giving is because River of Life buys, and so there is pastor's account. Purpose of account is to give. So now we want to thank the man of God, Servant Piri, our Father in the Lord, who is so magnanimous, so kind, so good. He's the one who has bought all these things for us. That's a lie. So I can give these. What happens if next month no one has given anything? Can I take from my account and buy them because they are widows and orphans who need to be fed? That's why most NGO programs are fake. You can't give what you can't give. I don't. Some of you are still not getting it. Some of you are still not getting it. Please hear me. Please hear me. Don't come to me now to come and talk. You are starting a chicken project. You are going to be doing broilers and awuzakugcina ikundwane uzagcina njani broiler? Uyagcina njani? Show me a person who we came to your house and there's a little box in the lounge walking. Yes. What's going on here? I bought some chicks. I decided. So where are you going to put them? No, I'm still making plans. There's a vision. Some of you are still not yet getting it. There is. This person said, I know that's going to cost money, but I couldn't wait. So I'm making plans. Anyway, I'm going to. My sister-in-law, Mrs. Garacho, you go there, she's got this bavu full of chicks. Miss Garacho, anyway, then next thing she had converted the boys' kaya. She didn't have a chicken run. Converted the boys' kaya into a chicken run. There's vision there. You are going to be doing 5,000 broilers. You've never done one broiler in your house. The only thing you know of a broiler is when you buy chicken in food sack. If I come to your plot, I arrive there. Inside the house there is a 2 goat kids. What are you doing, goat kids? Well, we had gone to such a place, and this person was saying, they've got to sell these goats. And I thought to myself, manje, what if this person is not? And I fell in love with this. So I just said, I'll see. So I just bought them. So what are you going to do? I'm going to make a plan. That person there, if you are doing goats, take 8, give them so that they've got 10. You are dealing with vision. Are you guys still here? Let's jump. The 6th of the curses is the curse of Jotham. The redemptive gifts aligned to this is the gift of ruler. You read Judges from chapter 9 up to verses 57. So like the other cases, there's no judge at this time. Or rather, unlike the other cases. Remember, I did tell you we had one incident. There was a case of, rather, there was a woman judge. In this instance, there is no judge. Okay. So the marker for this case is that there is division from within. Okay. Some of you have been resisted by your family. And the reason you were resisted was not because you were poor. When God started to do you small, lifting you up, you found attitudes shifting and changing. You are a ruler. Rulers can't live in poverty. Rulers must have provisions because rulers must command territory to lift people up. You're not a ruler because in your clan, no, you can be a nduna and a useless one. Is this making sense? When you see people just people fighting with you instead of people coming to celebrate you, you're a ruler. You'll have combinations. Someone getting to hear this? You'll have combinations. I had some of my children from Malawi get in touch with me. Teddy, why did you leave the platform? I said, you'll learn more about me. I don't suffer fools very well. No, we understand, Teddy. We understand. Please, are you still going to come to Malawi? I said, of course. I wasn't just coming for everyone. I'm coming for my children. They were so excited. Please, any of the two places is fine. You can choose either to come to Lilongwe or come to Malawi, to Blantyre. Whichever one of the two. Fortunately, there are flights to both of them. I don't do very well driving long distances. The wiser you become when you have paid the price. You don't become wise without paying the price. You get to the place where what is all right for other people is not all right for you. Yes. One of my sons was in the bus from Cape Town, leaving in the morning to arrive in Mutare 2 days later. I said, I salute you. You are a hero in my books. You require specialist forces training. The world will come to an end whilst you are driving. Flight from Cape Town to Joburg is 2 hours. Flight from Joburg to Harare, 1 hour. There are no flights to Mutare. Hire car. Harare to Mutare, I think is. So 1.5 hours then. He is saying 3 hours. Sorry? There's how many hours? Oh, even better. 2.5 then you are not wasting time in Joburg. 2.5 hours. Right? Pick up a hired car. If I'm driving 1.5 hours. So all in all, 2.5 plus 1.5, 4 hours, 1 hour just to, I'll be having some men from church here. They need to eat. So you need to pass by somewhere, buy food. 5 hours. 5 hours compared to 48. That devil is a bastard. So the marker for this case is that there is division from within. And one of the places where you find this prevalently is in organizations, business partnerships, and related, where a key person violates and lives in a way that cripples the operations of the organizations. In families, you have siblings who will not relate in any generation. Is this making sense? One area, possibly the only area in this entire church, that I won't broke nonsense is this area here. Because that's where Satan came from. Never allow for a single individual to become so big that they become bigger than the purpose. Is this making sense? The day you find one musician, person with the heart of David, I don't care whether they play the guitar, whether they play the keyboard, whether they will single-handedly pull down the presence of God from the spirit realm into the church. Whereas you can have skills playing for themselves. Countries where you have coups. The coups are not sponsored by the need to remove abuse, because the one taking over is worse. Do you want examples? Corrupt gift of ruler graces. Is someone still here tonight? How did it come? Jotham cursed. He said, if I am wrong, let this happen. But if I'm right, let this happen. So one of the biggest maladies of the church has been the failure to understand the dynamics and the dimensions of curses. There are many things people do that attract curses into people's lives. If there is one thing that has deeply concerned me, has always been when I've looked and I've seen people doing things that can harm the future. Many examples I could give. Many. There are things which you can do that will open a door that you may not be able to close in your generation, and therefore you expose the next generation to years of pain and suffering. In my case, I told you prophetically, the Lord spoke to me. Said to me, your great-grandfather was a policeman. The case came in because he used his office of that of a policeman to take advantage of people. I jumped into the car. I drove to Chabalala at night. I sat with my father. I said, what was Kulu's job? He said, he was a policeman. Okay. 100% confirmation. Father, what do I do with this? The Lord said to me, well, you have to disconnect yourself from the curse, come out from under its devouring, and come into the place of favor. So how can it be that you're born again, but this happens? See, the blood of Christ doesn't peel bananas for you. It provides you access to the banana tree. But it's your choice whether you go, first of all, you need a sharp knife, cut down the branch. If they are not ripe, put them in the ripening shed. And then after they are ripe, you have to take one off. Then you have to peel it. After eating it, you have to dispose of the peels. Madness gospel. That person, you need to go back and see them. Those are the people who tell you there is light at the end of the tunnel. You need to ask, what kind of witchcraft is that you put the light at the end of the tunnel? I don't need light at the end. If I'm coming out at the end of the tunnel, why do I need a light? You sure this makes sense? The word curse is the word kolal. It means literally to pronounce a formula wishing evil on somebody. To esteem lightly. Kurerutsa. What's in Ndebele? Ugululaza, ugweyisa. To bring into contempt, to make vile. To be loathsome, contemptible, objectionable, disgusting, miserably poor, wretched, and morally low. Watch. This person is wearing an Armani suit. They have got on they have Aramis mixed with a woody perfume. They are wearing elephant skin shoes, yet they will go somewhere and someone finds them disgusting, objectionable, execrable, loathsome. How did that happen? See, it can't be physical because the person's physicality, they're wearing a $2,000 suit, they are wearing $800 shoes and all. How did it happen that someone found them loathsome? It's not what you see. It's what you can't see. My challenge was when that young man told me, say, we are battling with this thing. These people use muti. I said, what? This battle is finished. See, when Goliath insulted David by his gods, David said, "Jangu jatonaka." Because I thought I was going to use my skills. And according to my skills, your forehead is a bit too high. When I calculate the angle at which it has to go, see, when you shoot something that is plain, and when you shoot something at an angle, whether up or down, your target dynamics change. Immediately he said, I curse you by my gods. He said, thank you. Because this matter is no longer in my hands. Now, all I need to do is just to aim at your forehead. The rest, Jehovah will do. Are you sure you're getting this? That's why young people don't terminate your ministry working overtime. There is no overtime worth obeying your calling. The second word is ora, which means to hem in with obstacles, rendering them powerless to resist, to execrate, to loathe, to abhor, vehemently object against, to denounce. The reason one curse attaches and the other one doesn't is a matter of covenant. The reason a curse attaches and another one doesn't is a matter of covenant. See, if I curse you for stealing something from me, is stealing wrong? So even heaven recognizes. You didn't get this. Is stealing wrong? Does God want you to die without children? But the person you stole from says, he who stole this will die without children. The realm of the spirit has to enforce it. Why? Because you put yourself under my authority by your action. People think, oh, those who curse are witches. Nonsense. You can curse your children. Yalifunyela. Othatha imali yami uza kufetubeka. Don't parents say that when they're angry? Yes. You know, there are some of your brothers in South Africa who are robbed regularly every 3 to 4 months. Oh, you didn't know? There are people in South Africa, monthly, the police go to collect their salaries. Monthly. I didn't say some of the month. Monthly. The police drive there. I was amended. Because they're only on payday. So, 1,000. The person is earning 1.5. The police will take 1,000 rand. The person has rent, has children, has transport. You know why? Because a parent was angry one day and said, Loku, so why is the curse in operation? Because the action produced a covenant. That's why the Bible says a curse without cause. I'm afraid to go there. That person may curse me. How? On what authority? For those of you who don't believe me, please, go if you know, some of you, how many of you at least know one person who is a witch or their family are accused of witchcraft? Raise up your hands. Okay, so there is about, let's call it 12. If you are able to tonight, send them a message. Say, Mfundi Spirit from River of Life said, I must tell you and all your ancestors, food sack. Then give them address. Yeah, give them all the details. And let's see what they can do. Say, Mfundi, some of them are strong. Strong what? I don't have a covenant with them. In fact, the mantle I carry will terminate all their generations. You sure this makes sense? So understand that this now brings the opposite. So now we talk of the favor of God versus a favor. Is this making sense? A favor is an obligation without a date of expiry. You went for an interview. You could tell the person interviewing you was a lustful, lecherous goat who was busy drooling at you, but you still took the job. And he said, you realize I will be asking you to do me a few favors here and there. He didn't mention, but you knew what that person was saying, but you still took the job. You are a fool. If you knew what you stand upon, say, I'm sorry. If the favors you are talking about are something that is a company policy, something that has to do with the purpose of the company, you can count on me any day, sir. So you clarified. You are not going to coward me or no, you're not going to. I shared with you my former CEO called me to his house, said, Bothwell, I like you, my boy. This you have done and that you have done. I said, thank you, sir. I'm most grateful. We're sitting in his bar. Called his wife, said, what would you like? Coffee, tea, Coca-Cola? I know you are a bishop. You don't touch this because well-stocked bar. I said, Sonny, the reason I called you, there's a number of people who don't like you. What he didn't know was him and me were different. Me, I don't care whether you don't like me. My career is not going to be determined by you. The woman who lives in our neighborhood had to sign my promotions with her lip bleeding, or rather her tongue bleeding from biting it. You don't owe your life to an individual. Sure, this makes sense? Says, son, I want you to, just watch what you say. You are too direct. I was looking at him. Said, see, I knew you were not going to accept what I'm saying. I said, Mr. Makova, said, with all due respect, you know me well. That's not going to happen. Said, I knew it. Anyway, how are things going? I visited with them for a while, got into my car. He knew it was not going to happen. Yes. I stood up in front of the entire senior management crew doing a presentation which was supposed to be done by 4 people, and all members of staff, my grade and 1 grade lower, said, no, these people are trying to divide us. Let's select one person to represent all of us. Should we? Rohit Naik, who used to own Naik store, said, Bothwell will speak for all of us. I said, no, I did not volunteer. I said, yes, that's the only person who can talk for us. He said, yes. Those who disagree, yes. When I stood up and I said, it is embarrassing for a blue chip company like Edgar's that when we travel on business, suppliers take us out for meals, for lunch and dinners. The same suppliers come to Buluwayo, they take us out for, what kind of a company are we? People were looking. Pangi Matikiti was sitting next to Abraham Mhlongo. They were writing notes to each other. I think it was Pangi Matikiti who wrote a note. Expect your next supervisor to the factory. This guy is finished. Prepare for him. He's coming to the factory. They didn't know what they were talking about. Then I said, and also, the buyers who are here, being told what to buy, how can people who don't live in our communities tell us what the people in our... You want to tell me what my mother wears? The lady was the guilty fella ran when no man is pursuing. She immediately commented, said, Bothwell, did I not allow you? I said, allow me. Why would you allow me if it's my job? Say, I allowed you to buy. I said, madam, don't quote one isolated incident to try and justify a culture. Everyone looked down. I believe they were praying then. You could hear that Catholic, oh, Christus Santo. Mr. Don Ferguson, the CEO, then turned from pink to white. He was an Irish. He said, Edward, is this true? Asking Mr. Makova. Mr. Makova was fidgeting. He turned, looked at me like he was going to eat me up. He said, Bothwell, is this true? I said, sir, I could bring in my colleagues here. You can ask them for yourself. Within 1 week, Bank Express cards were released. I was one of the first ones to receive my card. There are people, some of them are still working for Edgar, so well, recently all of them left, who received those cards, never used them one day. The highest spender. Every month, so the card had a balance. I think it was $120 or something like that. And every month, it had to be topped up. Others never had a single top-up. Mine was busy. You just come to me and say, I'm a supplier. I said, we're going for lunch. So, the favor of men and slaves, where the favor of God enlightens and uplifts. Are you sure you're getting this? So the legitimacy lie of the ruler is that I am legitimate when I have institutional power to build with. Whereas the legitimacy of the ruler is not having institutional power, but having covenant. Are you sure you're getting this? The intermediate causes of the curse are not just ingratitude, but the spirit of sedition and lawlessness against people in power. Please listen to me now. Those of you who are going to go and start your own organizations, don't go and destroy where you are working to start your organization. It may prosper, it may not prosper, but you will carry in your blood a curse that will be passed on to generations to come. Is this making sense? There's a lot to talk about, and I want to finish. Where are we? We have 7 minutes. All right. The 7th curse is the Ammonite curse. The gift aligned to this is the gift of mercy. And the blessings that come when this curse has been broken are the finest. The curse, which is the most evil and the most subtle and the one into which most people fall into because of its subtlety and slick disguise. In Judges 11, from verse 1, speaks of the story of Jephthah, the Gileadite, a mighty man who went and he promises God that whatever comes out of his house when he comes back, he's going to sacrifice it, and his daughter comes out. Here's the issue. Why would you want to make a promise to God of something he's already given you capacity and ability to do? Are you still here? The most well-known Christian comedian, I didn't think about this earlier, is he lives in Texas. He goes to Pastor Robert Morris's church. He packs all the venues he goes to. Doesn't miss church. Submitted to his call as a comedian, but understanding that his call as a comedian is meant to bring laughter so that he can preach Jesus. That response is the worst one so far since Monday. And in almost every situation, he will honor his pastor. Anything we do that doesn't bring Christ into its midst is because Christ is not in your midst. So Jephthah is a mighty man of valor. Was going to be. He was born to fight. It was not a competition. How was he a mighty man of valor when he had never fought a war? But he needed legitimacy. So what did he do? Went and killed his brothers. God ordained him, even though he was the son of a prostitute. He was the son of a small house. You remember Monday? Everyone has been born with a birthright. Are you getting this? But he's looking at the 70 sons of Jerubbaal. He's saying, I wish people also recognized me in the way they recognize these, because mina bayakwazi ukuthi ngingumntwana ewule. Did he make himself umntwana ewule? Was he involved in his birth? So why would I carry the shame of something I had nothing to do with? Is someone getting this? So God has ordained him a mighty man, meaning in anything to do with war, he was the one-stop co-op. Is that making sense? Yes. The brothers could be anything else in life. But the general was going to be Jephthah. Whether you liked him, whether you were relating to him, whether you hated him, it didn't matter. He was going to be the general. But in his mind now, for me to be a general, let me kill my brothers. God ordained you to be a good soccer player. But what you do, you now go to some dude who's never played soccer. His children have never played soccer. He doesn't even know the soccer teams in Bulawayo. Then he does the slits on your legs, rubs in something, cuts you on your back, on your chest, rubs in something, and he says, you will play very fantastic. If you needed to go to him, why are you running up and down the hills at Mount Gerizim? Do you know how many times we do that? For you to come pick up a guitar and not be astoundingly good at it is demonic. This is my birthright. But guess what? For everything God has given to you, you've got to hone the skills. David didn't just chaumas velela. King, I what in your Sam? You'd have been history. Goliath, the worst day of Goliath's life. In fact, the Bible doesn't go into those details. But let me tell you the horror Goliath went into. First of all, when he saw what was sent to fight for him, Goliath was mad, angry. How do you send me this piece of rubbish to fight with me? When that stone landed, the Bible said it sank and went inside. Goliath was confused, in deep anxiety. The brain stopped working, and Goliath is saying, no. After all the victories I have had, how can I die by a small boy? That's why to live ordinary is being a curse to your generation. Is this making sense? He's born a warrior. Hello? He's born a warrior. Say, Fundis, God anointed you to be a prophet. Do you know how many years I spent studying the prophetic? And that's why I'm not impressed by people, what they have done, what they have accomplished. What I look for are the marks of a genuine calling of God. And that's why I have that teaching. I don't know whether I've ever taught that. The marks of a genuine apostle. I wrote that in 2008, 2009. I still have it. The marks of a false prophet. I have that. In fact, if you go onto Facebook and you go into my account and Google the marks of a cult, or the marks of a fake prophet, or the marks of a genuine ministry, you will find those. I was born to do this. Are you sure you're getting this? Also, when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob. Why? In the whole nation, you are telling me there was no one that's in fighting. Are you telling me of the sons of Issachar who knew the times and knew what Israel ought to do? Of the sons of Benjamin? There was no man. Yes, there were. But you can't stop a star in its time. You sure you're getting this? His time had come. And now it was his time to shine. The problem is, the time to shine has come. You are full of umlota. One day you are just talking to a girl who you just know from a distance. And you don't know she's testing you. She wants to hear your IQ. So how are you? Tell me, what are your thoughts on the conflicting ideologies of the political parties in Zimbabwe? Do you know why in life we end up marrying our size? Do you know the worst part? For those of you that many times are getting desperate to get married, you always marry your level. You wanted to get married in 2015, yet you were 40%. Had you married here, you'd have married another 40%. You wanted to get married in 2020, you were 80%. You'd have married another 80%. Get married then. Don't live here and say, by the Mfundi said, I'm getting married in 2025. I'm giving you an example. But let me show you this. There are people who, in 2015, they were 40. In 2020, they are 20. Because there is no development. You are not going anywhere. That's why, don't men get upset here when I start talking about plowing. Hello? When I start talking about what? Ngoba umfundisi yena uzabuya zeboleki ikhuba lakho. What was the basis then that the people of the land selected Jephthah? Because it was his time. God ordained him to be a warrior. The principle of compensation in his life was perfect. What is the principle of compensation? The principle of compensation is that for everything you can't do or you are not your best at, there are areas where you are so good that the person who is good at that place you are not best at has to come to you. Let me repeat that again. The crime in life is to be good at nothing. There is no witchcraft in heaven which can help you. What God designed us to be is that I should be a good farmer. Let's just give an example. If I'm a good farmer, you have to be a good tailor. Because you know nothing about meat. You know nothing about nyauti. You don't want to be a farmer. Because that's not your calling. But you want to eat first grade nyauti. Me, I'm a farmer. I don't want to start making suit. I have no interest in that. I want to come to you and say, which color do you think will match on me? Are you sure you're getting this? He comes to me for meat and for food. I go to him for all my clothing. Yeah, people who have nothing. It is not that they have nothing. They decided they are not interested in developing anything. Is this making sense? So there is no relationship of delelaring each other. When he's going around, so Bothwell is my friend. I get all my meat and things from him. When I'm talking somewhere, yeah, I know you are delering my suit. Yeah, this year, well, see me in secret because I can't give it. Many of you can't afford the suits. Then people come, are you serious? Okay, here's the number. Take it. When you phone him, tell him, Bothwell gave you the number. So you phone him for your suits. The next day, he needs her because she is the best mechanic in town. When now he is coming to collect, how can he collect the suit, my wife? So he is coming to collect meat. I say, but why is your car looking like it's been parked for a while? No, I'm having problems. I tried this. No, why didn't you tell me? Mrs. Hill, what car? Oh, then I think I already know what the problem is. Does it do this when you do that? Yes. Does it do that when you do this? Yes. Are you able to tow it, or do you want me to send my car to come and pick it up? Whatever arrangements are made. Now, she is in, it's called a loop. Are you sure? Tomorrow, he's that loop, he's in that loop, he's in that loop, she's in that loop. And this is the reason why black people stay in poverty. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people here on the front right now. These people here have all an average income of $1,000. So between the three of us, the 9 of us, we command $9,000 a month. Amongst white people, that $9,000 with the intelligence and all, that $9,000 is actually an equivalent of about 20,000. Because when that $1,000 comes in, it's going to have, after expenses, it has investments, it has other things that it's doing. In our black community, that $9,000 is actually in the whole community, it's 1,000. And we want, for some wicked demonic reason, break out of it. So in this community, the first 3 gentlemen are owing him money. They took suits, never paid for them. Or they paid half, or they paid 75%. He prefers to do business with that section, the Zapu section. Are you sure you're getting this? Yes, sir. And so what happens is, because we haven't honed our skills and honed our brains, we should be able, just within this community, that when she starts doing chickens, They are consumed just by us only. Other people have to beg. Please, can you just please, my friend, I was your brother's schoolmate. Can you just, and then say, okay, you were my brother's schoolmate. So anyway, I'll be giving you so many a month. Are you sure you're getting this? Yes, sir. Sitting in this seminar right now, there are, let's call it maybe 200 people. If I call it 200 people. 200 people in this seminar. In our home, how many chickens do we eat a month? I corner 6 no. I corner. We eat around 10 chickens a month. We eat about 10 chickens a month. If it's 2 a week, my darling, 2 a week is 8. But there are times you don't cook half portions of chickens. You cook the whole chicken at a given time. The mother of the house is speaking. So if I say 10 chickens, all right, if everybody here was a household and you each ate 10 chickens, that's 2,000. So one person could actually be producing chickens first. But remember, we're not talking of the whole of River of Life. Are you getting the picture? But when ungahamba uyekwenza ama chickens wakho kubuye kunuka, it's not plucked properly. 1 month they are 2.1 kgs, the next month they are 1.3 kgs. Are you now starting to get this? COVID, I tried to get the parents to get the kids doing school. The parents say to me, food sake. Because I was concerned about my own grandchildren. I said, pay the teachers, I think, was it $5 or $10 a month? $10 a month. Yeah, you remember. Pay the teachers. Bring all our children here. Let them do school. Hey, where now? Those things I don't forget. Because they are emblematic of a demonic manipulation. Hey, say hallelujah. Hallelujah. No, say it like you mean it. Hallelujah. Say I'm blessed. Until this shifts. Someone called me, sent me a message yesterday. I'm sorry, I forgot. I brought you in Bambayila, Tsunga, rape. We haven't eaten Tsunga or rape. I don't know. I don't even remember how far back. So I called one of our sons and I said, please take me to Douglasdale. That's where his plot is. Got there and I said, I want fresh beetroot. Said, oh no, my neighbor's got fresh beetroot. So we arrived there. They went into the field to go and harvest. Then the son sent one of the boys to go. The brother said, a whole pack of beetroot. Should I tell them about beetroot leaves? You sure? Many of you don't even know that beetroot leaves are edible. It's chewable. So the boy came back with a saga of beetroot. So I said, by the way, how much is the beetroot? The boy. My brother said, the boy. Said, no, uncle, it's all right. I'm going to sort it out myself. I don't even know how much it's supposed to be. Say to me, until that redemptive gift of mercy starts being operational in our lives. And here is the challenge. Everybody sitting here is going to be either mercy, ruler, giver, exhorter, teacher, servant, or prophet. But how many are in manifestation? So we can't be praying for the outcome whilst rejecting the responsibility. A car can't be praying to produce exhaust fumes when it's stationary. Is this making sense? Let's finish with this. Principle of compensation in those who seem to live and just suffer right through the never seeming coming to, plus the principle of fact. In fact, take you back. He is born the child of a small house. So he is despised, looked down upon. That's bad, isn't it? Did he deserve it? But he is born as military commander. I'm not hearing you. What do people do to the commander? I'm not hearing you. Which people? The very same ones who despised him and looked down upon him because he was the child of a small house. Did he deserve to be looked down upon? Does he deserve to be saluted? See, spirit of confusion. Some of you are saying yes. Oh, what made him deserve to be saluted? He didn't make himself the military commander. The elders came to ask him to lead the military. Is anyone getting this? But today is Thursday. And already this is concerning to me listening to the answers. That means the concept hasn't gotten here first. The principle of compensation in life is that you don't build a camp around the things that you find are negative about you. We're very good at it. Mina kwasekusiti then. Kwasekusiti then kwaba iloku. Then kwaba iloku. Many of us sitting here, we've got these little habits we picked up, which we refuse to discard. I'm happy so burombe. The way we respond to people, the person is talking to you. Habit of a lizard. As person is talking to you, eish. Habit ya urombe. Nega muna clean ma toilet ku South Africa. Ndo zwa uri kunzwa mu toilet kana uchi cleaner. Ndo zwa kufamba uchitaura. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? Every habit, that anything that you do, your responses must, if they are learned, unlearn them. Because everything about you must state greatness. In other words, when you're spoken, people must say, that's greatness. When you respond, that's greatness. When you walk, that's greatness. When you talk, that's greatness. Everything, there are so many things you do. If I give more examples, I would successfully offend many of you right now. Doing things you've never heard, seen, suspected. Greatness, doing. I don't have quiet, suspicious responses to anything. Never done so. Why? Because everything in life that is learned can be unlearned. get to a place. More so when you are a man, be recognizable. I don't care whether it's at the airport, whether it's inside an aeroplane, whether it's in a bus, whether it's in a supermarket. There must be the way a man must carry himself, the way you walk, the way you are. There must be, you see, it's an abomination for Jehovah to take his presence, put it on a man who looks like Nkochane, who talks and who has mannerisms that are street mannerisms. Hey, let us smile now. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Say, I am greatness.
I am greatness.
And from today, go, believe it, live it, walk it, breathe it, smell it, test it. No, I am greatness. Because if that doesn't happen, its replacement will be your reality. That's why you've got to sit with people, carrying conversation with people. When you talk to people, the way you respond. Did you say what you're saying is actually incorrect? Respectfully. The truth is, in reality, that, and provide proof. One thing I refuse to do from when I stayed with my parents was to have mentality power. I'm 55, I've never sat in a beer hall drinking. Mentality power is where you have a pedestrian brain. Your responses and everything you do are pedestrian responses, meaning when a person has sat with you, if they are a tourist, when they've sat with you, they can go out to Godini and observe the same responses in everyone. I am greatness. I am blessed. The grace and the anointing of God is upon me. You will finish whatever I didn't finish at home by yourself. Let's stand to our feet. Father, thank you for my redemptive gift. My expression of who you are. I embrace my gift. I embrace my redemptive gift. Tonight, I choose to walk in my birthright. Tonight, I declare I am created blessed. Thank you for your covenant. That is operational in my life. Father, thank you for the greatness of divinity that rests upon my head. Take your seats. I promised that I was going to give a few minutes every day to questions. I am legally obligated by reason of the covenant I made to please bring a microphone here. Are you guys still okay? Yes, sir. All right. You are going to come to the next seminar next year. I want to make sure that all the victims are bandaged and taken care of. Yes, sir.
Yes, Daddy. My first question, am I right to say that the purpose for pursuing or fulfilling your responsibility can actually can either turn a gift, a blessing into a curse, or confirm it as a blessing? Then my second question,
Say the first question again, because I want to understand the first question. So let's ask that again.
so the underlying motive of fulfilling responsibility in a gift can either make that gift or can either manifest in a curse or in a blessing.
Absolutely, because the gift in its purity is the manifestation of God. The gift in its curse, because it believed a legitimacy lie, there is no more purity. You are still doing what God sent you to do, but your motive is now wrong. The source is no longer the original intent of God. You are driving the car, but you are not going where God sent you. God sent you to Gweru, but there are more people in Harare. So you are now in Harare because you are more popular in Harare. So the answer is yes. Did anyone understand the question? Yes. Okay, so please continue.
And then the second one is, where do I really draw the line that I am resourcing the gift from the birthright and I'm no longer, or I have gone into using my own power and toiling?
There is no line. There's absolutely no line. All right. This is the simplest question so far. Am I doing in terms of the process? Am I doing what God says I must do in His Word? Do I love God? Am I walking in purity with Him and my brothers? I'm called to these people. Do I love them? But if I love them, do I love God more than I love this? What does the Bible say? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. All right? That's the first commandment. Do I love Him? Because it is not possible for me to live in sin whilst loving God the way I should. You know you are in trouble when you are doing things out of obligation. Because obligation and love are the opposite. So I'll show you this. So whatever I do for my wife will be done out of the two. Love or obligation. Whatever I do, for instance, for my spiritual father, will be done out of the two. Love or obligation. Whatever I do for my children will be done out of those two. Love or obligation. Love, I want to do it. I love to do it. I enjoy to do it. Obligation, I have no choice. The only reason I'm doing it is when I'm doing it for God, I do it because I want to. People who love God, when it comes to worship, you have to stop them worshiping. You have to stop them praying. You have to stop them loving on the Father. People who do it out of obligation will stop the worship, stop the prayer, stop. They are the standard of darkness. You say, let's pray. After 30 seconds, they are the ones now pulling the handbrake. How do they do it? Father, we thank you. We glorify your name. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So the next person also hears. The temperature has gone down. So I am now doing the wrong thing by running fast. So I've got to also slow down. Awukazi uhamba ubona amakorokoza acha iband kule korokoza slower down. Did I answer your? Okay, the next question. Oh, faithfully. Oh, I was about to congratulate all of you for your consistency.
Good evening, Dad.
Good evening.
I just wanted to find out.
Yes, sir.
You, on the gifts, the redemptive gifts, Dad, and the markers. If you find that there are several markers that you can identify with, how then do you come to say, this is my redemptive gift?
Easy. I used for you the principle. Once, twice, more. So, that's the principle you apply to markers. So, one thing I didn't do, because this, like I told you, this is a 9-day seminar. We're on day 4 and almost finished because, it's a 9-day seminar in its current format. That's minus Monday, minus tomorrow, which makes it how many? 11. So, something that happens once, happens twice, it's not a marker. A marker is consistent. All right? It is not consistent when it's something that just happens to everyone else. We left church, it started raining. Then it started raining again the following day. Then on the third day, it started raining. I'm cursed. Was the rain falling upon your home only? It could just be the rainy season, isn't it? Yes. You come to Gerism, you see a snake. In the evening, you see a certain snake. I'm glad our mother is not here, isn't it? The third day, you see a snake. You say, I'm cursed. No, you are in the bush. You are supposed to see snake. The marker is you are walking Mount Gerizim, you pick up a bar of gold. How did the bar process itself? The gold does not process itself. You're walking the following day. You picked up a drum of oil. This is coincidence, no? The third day you were walking, there was a bag full of rolls of $100. That's a curse now. The owners are going to come looking for their gold, their oil, and their money. Is this making sense? The things that happen to any of these will happen to all of them. Is this making sense? And say, I arrived home. I ate sadza. That's a marker. No, it's not a marker. Is it making sense? You ate sadza, it tasted like manna. That's a marker. The other people were eating didn't taste it like manna. But you tasted it like manna. Something that happens once, twice. These are things that are brutally happening in your life. What I didn't come to. The reason we identify those markers is because in your life, everybody see? This is your life. Anything that takes you from 0 to 100 is a blessing. The things that take you from 0 to minus 100 is not a blessing. The markers is, why am I always minus 100 in January? Then you didn't insult anyone, you didn't curse anyone, you are just going. Then June, another minus 100. September, another minus 100. Why are these things happening to me? Because I know the promise of God and the covenant of God. Say this. So this year is the opposite of the covenant. Are you guys getting this? Yes. Families which, if they don't have a funeral in 12 months, people start getting worried. Well, why? If the family members start worrying, who's going to be the next? This year is where every minus 100 is an invasion to invert, not to invade. But Nala fail is key. I can't go any further than this. Every inverted season was meant to be. The reason why we are talking of the markers are the ones that are showing you because you are minus. You were not supposed to be minus. Every minus is denoting where there was meant to be a peak. Are you sure you're getting this? My daughter Angela was getting very worried. She used to get me dirty. I looked at her the other day and I hugged her. Didn't say a thing. She thought I was going to pray for her. No. I have no concern. When you see me concerned, cry. Is the time for it. So I left the other day. I went. And for those of you who don't know, we were blessed with a bouncing baby yesterday. Right. By the way, that's the only reason she's not here. Are you sure this makes sense? Markers, the word marker that we use in this context, we are saying someone stole from you. You see this one here? Someone stole from you. So how do I know they stole from me? Because it is happening to me. Does that make sense? Okay. Please don't agree if I have not addressed it well. All right. So every marker, this is one thing I got to understand. We were in Morningside, we were staying in Morningside, and I began to understand that no, this is the thing. So 2011, I raised people up in church. We never started a service without me making the people confess the word. I am blessed. I'll go to the best. I'll drive the best. I'll eat the best. Unfortunately, for the majority of people, they didn't believe it. Didn't believe it. They were just pelegazaring me. So I continue talking about it. My first Pajero was bought in a season of very drastic faith. And when I told the church, I said, go look for a picture of the representation of what I want you to trust God for. That thing must happen before the end of this year. And I went and I told Umfundisi. And so I went, scanned the internet. One day I was thin, bang, I saw this Mitsubishi Pajero. I took the picture, made it my screensaver, printed it, put it on my wall in my office at home, put it as my screensaver on my P2 at work, put it on my laptop, put it in my pocket. I ended up buying the very one, not the similar, not the exact. That exact one whose picture I put was one I bought. I didn't have a cent to buy it. I was sitting at the office one day, someone phoned me. So please, we need a car. So I went and I spoke to this company. Said, no, these cars are so much. I said, okay. Then I got hit by a brain wave. I phoned South Africa. I said, how much are these cars? They said there was I don't know how many thousands of dollars difference. So I phoned back this company and I said, you know what? I can get this car for you for this price. They said, you can't be serious. I said, yes, I'm very dead serious. They phoned me, I think, within 2 days. Where can we deposit the money? I said, not so fast, Gonzalez. Cut a long story short, gave them 2 accounts, South Africa, Japan. They sent the money for the Pajero, the money for their order. It came, we cleared. There I was driving car. No savings, no toil and all. Because faith cannot be denied. Is this making sense? So when I took my sons out the other day to show them lands, like I said, some of them, get there, they don't ask any questions, they just no questions, no nothing. The clever ones, when I would be looking at the map, so which one? This one here. This one here is there. This peg is there, so this goes up to there, and then this goes up to there. So why would I do something knowing that? Because you've got to start somewhere. Sooner or later, umoya kababhemi gets converted. So that's the reason. The marker is to assist us so that you are not trying. Am I a redemptive gift prophet? Am I? So what are the markers? The markers are these. Okay. So can I just do this quickly? So the markers are these. So you look at all the markers. Yes, those. So all the markers. Consistent. So now we come now. What is the operation of the redemptive gift? How does it operate? Because it's all there in your books. So you go through it. The one that is your redemptive gift, you feel it, it talks here. Right? It doesn't talk here. It talks right here. You go through that. Okay. That's why I said, go and highlight. Then now, you look within the broad context. How does this work? How does that work? How do I feel if you're a redemptive gift giver? What do I feel? Do I feel driven to give? If you are redemptive gift mercy, redemptive gift mercy people are the people who, when everybody just walks by, they're the ones who stop. Is this person all right? Jwayelo ngabafana lokhu yabe kudakwa impisi. Is that correct? Impisi? Inkawu, whatever it is. And so, say, everybody else couldn't give a damn because you go there, you want to check the person. You check the person. You can say to know but you still want to. All right? So, umuntu ongela ntshukuntshu la into yakhona ayimthinti ayimenzi lutho but your redemptive gift, I'm a redemptive gift prophet. I tried to explain to you the other day because you rushed it. He's a prophet. No, it's not what I'm talking about. I am redemptive gift prophet. And anyone who has dealt with me in any situation, I don't care what it is. I am not one of your friends which is, Wednesday. With me, you have to explain to me. I don't know how to fix a car, but you're going to have to explain to me, what did it do? How do you know it feel? What did you hear? What did you experience? I am not going to fix it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the phone whilst we are talking. Tell me, this person, he's got this car like this. He says it does this, it was doing that. Yeah, and then this, okay. So I think this guy thinks it might be this, it might be that. It is impossible for you to present me, whether deliberately or not, with a situation, and I just, it just, when I look at people who bring up their children badly, on the inside now, I feel like going mad. Kids, that's why now I deal with my crew on my own. I have kids who come every service, will hug each other, will talk. Then I have kids who come. You know why? They've never been hugged. They don't know what a hug is. So I always say, okay, move back, open your hands. Open hands. Come now. And close your hands. And come and close. That's what a hug is. Are you guys sure you're getting this? For me, if it's out of order, I don't care whether it's your teeth. With one of our girls, my wife ministered to this girl who now, after her teeth were fine, she shined for my wife like an angel. Her teeth were all over the country. Pretty girl. My wife brought her, introduced her. I said, Fonda said, go and see. She went. She said, okay, I'm coming home. She got our address. Hey, how are you? And her teeth had been fixed. Her teeth were together. Even the boy who married her doesn't know where her good teeth come from. Because redemptive gift prophet, I don't care what it is. We want to fix it. Redemptive gift servant. A servant is always looking, how can I lift that person? Umntwana lo kaya esikolo. Hayi asizame nini please hayi umntwana lo. That person has saved $120 in the last 6 months. You know what redemptive gift servant will do? Go and collect the 120. That's a redemptive gift giver. It's okay. So it's easy for you to go and once they merge in places, you've got to understand which one the real one is. The servant is always seeking to raise, uplift people, leverage people to the capacity of their calling. They can't help it. They will do it in a combi. Are you sure you're getting this? Redemptive gift exhorter. The exhorter just but when they look like a Ndebele woman. So the exhorter gets mad. Smile, for goodness sake. Yes. Take over like a Shona woman. Are you sure you're getting this? Yes. So the exhorter seeks to leverage the capacity of people so that people can come into a new, a greater place. That's why they're called, to exhort means to lift up. I refuse because if you start talking about tribes, Shona people are exhorters. Hello? Get a Shona couple coming to a funeral. They get there. You tell a Shona to preach. You get Moyo to preach. Lamhlanje kusihlwa. Mas butana mahlabe Zulu. Hliziyo zethu zidabukile. Soqala sifule ngomkhuleko. Siyacela umfundi sompofu. Asikhulekele. Baba wasemazulweni. Hliziyo zethu zidabukile. Bring a Shona. Wadenga. Tinona mata nasuno muzitara Jesu. Kuti mweya yese inonzwa kurwadziwa imimi mweya mchele. Kuqedwe ukuchunyayelwa. Umandloye ngaqalisi. Amagugu halelili sway. Yekela lezane zangale. Maria na Marita waka sarana ise dai makaravan sumkai vasikana Lazaro. That's gift of exhortation. Is this making sense? That's why, here's a funny thing. Did God make Ndebele people non-exhorters? No. Never. No. What we did was we accepted someone's limitation. Mfana umuyabona mawufike endaweni mele utshengisele ukuzinza njengendoda uqobo. Jason akhona kuba njengeswina. So la mawufika dawu mkhaya. Liyatshona mkhaya. Yeah. You'll never find a Shona who walks like this. Go boys, they go. You now believe it? Here is where it gets worse. Here's where it gets worse. Your personality has nothing to do with your gifting, but your personality can destroy your gifting. You can't be the lemon sucker, but be the exhorter at the same time. It's very difficult. So never allow people's labels to become your reality. Is this making sense? So you look in every arena, even with our music, secular music, not church music. Forget about church, just secular music. The exhorter will always be the most dominant in any given space. Why? Because it is the exhorter's worship, when led by a non-exhorter, is difficult. Get some of these like quietish people leadership worship so ibuhlungu. But you get a boisterous person. It's easy. So your personality is not something that was imposed on you by God. You learn it from your society. Is that not making sense? Yes. We've understood it. So tomorrow, I already gave you instructions before. Let me give you the final instructions. You arrive tomorrow. So tomorrow what we will do is, because it's a Friday, and because of many other issues, I'd like you to come. Tomorrow we are not doing book study. I want you to come and just pray. We're not going to do led prayer. We're going to do a personal prayer. But I want you to really have a time of intense personal prayer. So even if you are praying out loud, please shout and scream if you like. You want to climb upon the gas heaters, that's your problem. If that will make you pray better, climb on the gas heaters. But I want us to pray. What I will do is, are we still on live stream? Okay, so I hate having to say some of these things for the wrong motive. Okay. You remember what I asked you to bring tomorrow? All right. Tomorrow we're going to have two things, even though they're going to happen again that other week. We're having communion tomorrow. And tomorrow specifically, we are having anointing specifically to break any form of chain that has any manifestation of it. That's why you can't come to me and say, Father, if this is, if that is. No, you have to be specific. Is that making sense? Then what we will do is we will then share communion here. We will receive the anointing of God for a new season. But let me concern some of you. Tomorrow's anointing will be, so I'll take a little bit of time because I'm going to be I'll talk tomorrow about the effect on finances and wealth. The function of the curse curtails the resources for its manifestation. None of these redemptive gifts are operable from poverty. Is that making sense? None of them are operable from poverty. All right. Then, whether tomorrow or next week, at least by the end of this month, I want you to make a decision. If you are married, make sure, don't do it separately. If you are married, agree as husband and wife. Sit down now and compare notes. I am redemptive gift this. What do you believe you are? Then talk. Then say to each other, how can I help you become better at who you are, and vice versa? How can I? So now, iron sharpeneth. All right? Yes. Then I want you to mark the date, write it somewhere. All right? Put it on your dressing table or wherever you want. And put tomorrow's date as being the new season off. And I want you to state what it is a new season off. But the one thing you must never leave out of that is you're stepping into unlimited resources. This is the generational and financial seminar. Are you sure this makes sense? And for some of you, I'd like you to challenge yourself and say, this habit that I have is not a habit of greatness. That's true. Then stop it. Then ask yourself, what are the new habits I need to adopt? So I need to do this, or I need to do that. Write those things down. Then lastly, I want you to then agree, if you're a couple or if you then, this here is the seed I am sowing. The sacrifice, whether it's seed or whether it's sacrifice, that's up to you. To mark this, and that date and statement, put it in your Bible, preferably, instead of your notepad or notebook, because your notebook is not something that you live with on a daily basis. And when you come to give that, if you prayed over it at home, you don't have to come and pray over it here at the altar. And I want you to write on that envelope the seed of a new season. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. Then stand to your feet. Then look at your neighbor and say, neighbor. Speak with authority, neighbor. So that I can warn you in advance. You are dealing with a super blessed person right now. Don't say I didn't warn you. Because what you will see, you have never seen, and I'm only just beginning. That's why I am warning you, my friend. Where I am going to, I have never been. So I cannot give you the specific details. But where I am going will make even witches cry. Then raise up your hand and say, Father, thank you for a new season. Tonight, I glorify your name. Thank you for stepping into my season. The expression of my godness. In the name of Jesus. Then give him thanks. Hallelujah. Yes. Ela prosei. Thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness, your goodness, your loving kindnesses, your tender mercies. In the name of Jesus. On Tuesday, guess what family altar is about? The blessed life. So this Tuesday, you'll sit with your family, do your family altar. At the beginning and at the end. Whoever is the senior most, or the father, or if the mother has been deputized by the father, or if it's a mother-led family, the mother. you will bless the family. Specifically. Okay, I'll go and get the 57 blessings, covenant blessings. But I will post for your benefit the other blessings that the Lord gave me. So these are things you declare them. You just, I don't care whether the child came out with 2 out of 8 O levels. You will bless them not by their circumstances, but by their destiny. You will speak to unborn children. You will bless them. Is this making sense? Are you blessed? God bless you. See you tomorrow. Do we have people who walk after these seminars? They walk because of a spirit of walking. Please take